Hello, hi everyone. I can see that quite a few are waiting. Um, I actually was a few seconds late because I had a bit of a nightmare then when it wouldn't let me come into the studio. I've never had an issue with this software, but the first time I pressed it, it just said it's kind of can't enter the studio. Are you connected to the internet? Yes, I'm connected to the internet. So it worked the second time, thankfully. So I hope you're all well. Hello to Else. Hi, Chris. Sorry, can't join you tonight. Yeah. So I'll definitely answer your point that you've made. There's a couple of points that I need to address. The first one is to do with the Green Party. I'll address the other point later on. So there's this Green Party motion. I think Peter Hayes and I think it's Pat have been involved with that. I'm not a member of the Green Party, and to be honest, I don't have time to join the Green Party. But if you are a member of the Green Party, they're seeking 50 members to have a Green Party motion. I don't know all the details because I'm not political. Um, but I think of all parties to join, the Green Party would be one of the less offensive ones, probably. So you might want to consider doing that, or if you are a Green Party member, support the motion, and so on and so forth. Let's continue. Sign MOG judicial review motion for October conference. Thanks. Hi to Pete. I'll go a bit further down later. I'll answer your question later, Andy. Hi to Rachel. Hi to John. Hi to Greg. Hi to Kathleen. Hi to David. Hi to Patricia. Hi to Charlie. Hi to Zebedee. Hi to David. Hi to Cool Crazy Cute Crew. Hi to Mark. Hi to Bran. Hi to Carl. Nice to have you here. Hi to Mark Wilkinson. Hi to Rangecroft. Hi to Claire. Hi to Glitter Flutterby. Evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. It's starting to feel like autumn here in Glasgow. It's been quite nice here today. I went for a walk and it was pretty sunny. It was like a nice temperature, so it was a really nice day actually. Good evening, Chris and Kiko. My fall asleep has been up since 3:30 to fly to Corfu. Okay. Hope you have a good break. Hi to So Hard. Hi to Bren. Hi to Patrick. Hi to Bran. Hi to Pete Malley. Hi to Bernie. Hi to Christopher Hawk. Hi to Heather. Hi to Zoe. Hi to Shell. Hi to Maga Mama. Hi to Pat. Hi to Katie. Hi to Melanistic. Hi to Martin. Hi to Karen. Hello to Charlie as well, who's with Karen. They got a draw, I noticed, Karen, just at the end. Hi to Heidi. Hi to Alexis. Hi to Sarah. Says hello to Keeks as well. Hi, Chris. I've emailed my MP this week, so I'll let you know if I get a reply. Thanks for everything you're doing. Keep up the good work, Andrea. Thank you. I have seen a few chinks of light with MPs, as I mentioned. They're definitely paying a little bit more attention. So, yeah, if you do write to your MP and you get a response, please do email me. It's lucy_letby_analysis@mail.com. So very, very, very important that we keep up the efforts to do that because people are starting to get some responses now. So do keep trying. Hi to Billy. Hi to Zaina. Hi to Paula. Hi to Matt. Chris, hope you enjoyed your weekend. Been filming at a castle for my next paranormal documentary for YouTube about the ghosts of Bury Pomeroy Castle. Very interesting. Hi, Chris. Did you get a chance to read The Smoking Gun in the Sun today? No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to read that article yet because I've been busy today. But let me just have a quick look so that I make sure I'm up to date because I'm sure people are going to ask me about this. I know they said the decision is going to be imminent. Yeah, okay, I've read that now. Yeah, there's going to be more stuff coming out. So we'll see. But yeah, interesting. Hi, I'm Rosemary Hughes from Northern Ireland. Hi, Rosemary. Nice to have you here. I don't know when the CCRC are going to make a decision, but as I say, I can't see any reason why it can't be this year. Whether it will be in the immediate next couple of months, I don't know, but I'm hopeful it'll be this year anyway. Chris, have you come across Veriscope? Yes, I have. He's doing the post-it notes. He sounds like H.G. Tudor to me. I don't know who H.G. Tudor is, to be honest. Interesting. People who associate H.G. Tudor with crime scene to courtroom. I can't comment about any of that. All I know is this gentleman. I am aware of him, and I have not had time to watch his video. I don't get time now, really. If there's something essential, if there's new evidence or a new story, then I'll read it and I'll try and familiarize myself with it. But I'm trying to get to the point where I can actually have a bit of downtime, and then I might get the chance to watch something else. But hopefully that'll be soon. But over the last months, I don't have the luxury of watching videos really. If there's something really important, I'll check it out. But otherwise, I just don't have the time, unfortunately. I haven't had the time. Evening, Chris. Kiko and everyone in the chat. Christine, hi Christine, hope you're well, as always. Hi to Yelda, hi to Patrick in the Netherlands. Hi Chris, Tracy here. You are becoming a regular fixture in my house through the night and day. I've watched so much this week. Well, that's nice to hear. It's actually, when you're on YouTube, you get lots of analytics information, and the biggest platform for me to have viewers is mobile. But TV is pretty high. I mean, TV's second, and it's quite a lot higher than computers. So a lot of people watch things on telly. So that's nice to know. Nice to know. I hope you're enjoying the content that I've made. Hi to Barry. Hi to David. Relative newcomer here. How much information was presented in court, Lucy Letby's trial, which is not public in the public domain? Is that known? So funnily enough, on Thursday, I'm going to tell you about something that you may not know. Some of you may know. It's not anything that has any real value. In fact, I'm putting it up there as one of the most ridiculous things you will have ever heard in your life. But in terms of what isn't in the public domain, really nothing. All of the arguments are known now, and all of the most important aspects of the trial are available. There's no arguments that we don't know about. There's nothing of any substance. I've personally read a hell of a lot of them, and most of what I haven't read is stuff that really has no consequence to the outcome. There's bound to be bits and pieces unless you've literally read every single page of every single day. But to be fair, I think even the judge, barristers, etc., would forget some of those things. But there's nothing substantial that we don't know about by now. We know what happened in court. We know the arguments the prosecution put forward, etc., etc. So, I don't. I don't. There is nothing else to come out. That's all I can say. We have a lot of the court transcript now. Some people, I think, have all of it. If I need to get some of the court transcript, I can get it. I read a lot of it. We know all the main arguments. We know the prosecution arguments. We've seen the Court of Appeal verdict, for example. They don't mention anything new that people don't know. There just is nothing left to come out. If you wanted to be a completist, I mean, something I was thinking about, I was actually having a bath earlier, and I was thinking, I'm going to produce a transcript of the Court of Appeal, because we have the right to watch that via recording, and I can record it or record the audio and then make my own transcript, and then I can seek advice on whether I'm allowed to release that transcript. So I'm going to do that for myself, at least. As we know, it should be publicly available. We shouldn't have to beg, borrow, and steal to get the transcript, and I can't see any reason why it can't be recorded. Hi to Liam. Evening, Chris. You'll be keeping me company on the road again this evening. Obviously, won't be able to comment once I'm driving, so getting the hello in early. Evening all. Good to have you, Liam, as always. Hi to Jay Baxter. I can see an important comment coming up, but we'll get there in a second. Hi to Jay Baxter. Hi to Stuart. Hi to Lynn. Hi to Vivian. And so here's the. So you win the prize tonight, Mark. Is that a new microphone? the only prize you get is the prize of knowing that you're the most observant person, unless someone else observed it first and didn't notice. But yeah, I brought a new microphone. There's a few reasons for this. A couple of people have been doing of mentioning the microphone recently, and I recorded something last week, an interview, on my old microphone, and the sound quality was abysmal. So I thought, I've got to do something about this. So I thought, okay, it's time to buy a new microphone. And I hate buying new stuff because then you have to work out how to use it. But I actually not only bought a new microphone, but I signed up for this professional editing suite, because when I was interviewed by Fox, they used it to conduct interviews. So it's a bit of a steep learning curve, but because when you put it on, it's like it's like Pro Tools or something like that. It's like an entire that Pro Tools is used by recording artists to produce their records. It's like, it's a massive suite with loads of options, and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So I've started to use this package as well. But I actually recorded. No one really noticed, but today's video was recorded with this microphone and with professional editing and professional standard sound post-production. So I can do better sound now. Unfortunately, I did a test with Riverside today to do an interview, because I want to practice before I do interviews with Riverside. And it went when the sound was awful, so something had gone very, very wrong. So this is the problem with using new software or anything new. You have to troubleshoot what's going wrong, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. You haven't got anyone to help you. So yeah, it's tricky. But I've managed to kind of get a hang of some of the basic features on this software, and I've got my microphone. I've set it up, and the sound quality of videos will definitely improve now. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And I just thought I got to the point where I could invest a few pennies. So I did. So I want to keep doing this for years to come. I've got a good foundation to do that now. So I'm just going to try the best that I can. Have you interviewed or been in touch with anyone who disagrees with you and still thinks Lucy Letby is guilty? I've made repeated requests for anyone to contact me through my email, which is publicly available, who meets that description, who either believes Lucy Letby is guilty, particularly an expert, particularly a medical professional. And I made repeated requests, and I haven't had a single email from anyone that's willing to. I mean, I've not had an email where anyone has said, I think Lucy Letby is guilty, or I think you're wrong, or anything like that. And I get many emails from doctors. Actually, in the last 10 days, I've had emails from 7 new doctors that I've not spoken to previously, all of whom are supportive, all of whom believe that this is either a wrongful conviction or that Lucy Letby is innocent. And I've got more microbiology content coming soon that's involving an expert as well. So, yeah, I was open to having someone on the channel. I always said, if you think Lucy Letby is guilty, come on the channel and I'll interview you. I'm not going to do that now unless there's a professional. If there's a medical professional, healthcare professional, etc., who wants to come on and try to support the prosecution case, I'm very happy to speak with them. I'm not going to just have some random person on now, because I've worked on this channel for 16 months. I worked on my book for the best part of 2 years. It's been an enormous amount, thousands of hours. I've made multiple requests. I'm not having anyone piggyback off me at this stage. I can't stop other people talking about me or whatever. I don't care about that, but I'm not going to give someone else a platform that they haven't earned. So anyone who thinks Lucy Letby is guilty, they had the chance. They've had 16 months. No one emailed me, so that's over. But if there's a medical professional who wants to come on and try and defend the prosecution case, then they're very welcome. That's never going to happen, because it would be a medical kamikaze mission, because you'd be torpedoing your own credibility overnight. I mean, even I, with no medical qualifications, there's just no way they'd be able to argue back against it, let alone if I brought on the many people I know who've got medical qualifications, so which is hundreds now. It's well over 100, easily. There's over 1,100 people in 19 nurses now. they're all healthcare professional or allied healthcare professionals. And I'm in contact with over 100 medics, doctors, professors, and other experts. And then many, many nurses. I don't know how many nurses. I've not had one person with even the remotest sense of any qualification who's been anything other than supportive. And I thought there was a possibility someone would come out to me and say, "Oh yeah, I watched your video." So someone sent me the kindest email the other day saying, to paraphrase what they said, this was a doctor. He said, "When I first saw your production values and the fact you weren't a medical professional, I wondered if you'd be able to do anything about this case." And he said, over time, I've been so impressed with everything that you've done, and I realised that there was nothing that I could contribute. So he said at the end, "Well done, lad." And that was, really nice. But yeah, I really expected at some point someone would come along and say, "Oh, you're wrong about this, or you're wrong about that, or the thrust of what you're saying is incorrect." Just hasn't happened, because this is a wrongful conviction. This is an innocent woman who's been convicted by abysmal information, particularly the medical information, although there's other information in the court case as well that is very poor. But the medical information, of course, is key. And, I've come to understand it better and better as I'm going along. I don't profess to be an expert. I'm not an expert, far from it. But some of the things you don't need to be an expert to understand. You really don't. And the more I've invested in it, the more time I've invested in it, the better I've understood it, and I think the better my explanations and content have become. So, yeah, I just don't hear from people who think Lucy Letby's guilty. Read the article by Nadine Dorries. So yeah, that's an important one. She indicates that the case could be with the Court of Appeal this time next year. Of course, I don't. I couldn't say whether that's true or not, but she will be better connected than me, no doubt. Are you still on Reddit? I do occasionally post on Reddit. I don't have an enormous amount of time to post, but I do follow what's going on Reddit sometimes. But I don't really have the time. It was just it was a fantastic forum and platform to share things when there was nothing out there in the mainstream, and before I kind of had a public profile, I suppose. I did post something this week just to point something out, but generally I don't post that much now. But I've still got an account. Private Eye column was good this week. Yeah, it was a good column as always from Phil. Did you read the Peter Hitchens article about Mark Roberts? Yes, I did. Good point you made that he made no mention of Letby case in resignation, his biggest achievement, according to Cheshire Police. Yeah, that was a good point. I mean, it's very obvious that he got pushed out. I didn't do a video on that because Stuart did one that was covered everything that needed to be covered. And I didn't really think I could add anything meaningful. So I probably expressed an opinion in previous weeks, but it's fairly clear from what he stated that he was pushed. I mean, he could have kept his mouth shut, but he couldn't. He couldn't manage that. So I discussed this with Guy as well, of course. But yeah, good article from Peter Hitchens. He's really been doubling down in recent weeks, which is great. Good evening to Jeanette. Good evening, Chris and all. Hope you're well. I'm pretty good, thank you. I'm pretty good. On the point about writing to your MP, we're meeting Sir David Davis at Westminster. I have some questions for him, but what would you say to him if given the chance? Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know that I would. I don't know. I would ask anything. I don't think there's anything I would ask that I would be able to report the answer to. One of the things that I would definitely probably ask him would be, how are things with MPs? It seems that things are heading in a more positive direction. They're starting to pay a bit more attention. What's your day-to-day experience in the House of Commons, probably? Now, if he did answer that question, he'd probably say this is in confidence. So I don't know if that's in any way useful, but I don't know what you'll think of asking, but good luck with your meeting. It's really valuable that you're going to be there. Hi, Chris. Trust you're okay. I'm very well, Michael. Hope you are too. Can people hear the washing machine? Because someone mentioned that. The problem with getting these microphones is they pick up everything. So one of the things I didn't mention to you was one of the things that I didn't mention to you previously about recording the audiobook is it's not just that when you make mistakes, like you have to keep so still. Like it picks like the slightest noise, like this, if you touch your trousers or slightly knock the chair, it just picks it up immediately. So when you're recording, I mean, this I don't know if this microphone is as sensitive as the one they used. It's certainly sensitive, but it just picks up every noise, and that can be quite frustrating when you're recording a very difficult audiobook. So if people can people hear the washing machine? Let me just scroll down because I can scroll back. So let me know. Can you hear the washing machine, please, in the background? Because someone said it sounds like your washing's nearly finished. It's doing a spin cycle now. So if you can hear it, I'll shut the door. So hopefully someone will let me know soon. I'll scroll back down in a minute. You can hear it, right? That's the problem with getting a good microphone. That's the problem with getting a good microphone. I didn't. That's all the way down the stairs in the kitchen. Just bear with me. I'll shut the door to the kitchen. Put it right nice. Right. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have a better microphone, it picks up everything around you. You mentioned getting out and about, and I'm hoping you're coming to the Cheltenham Literary Festival. It's possible. I can say that I'm going to be appearing at another literary festival, at least one. I won't tell you what it is yet, because although it's been confirmed, it's not been officially confirmed in the public domain, but it will be happening. And then we're trying to go to some other literary festivals. Cheltenham would be great. I don't know whether it's possible. It depends on the schedule. I also don't know when the Cheltenham Literary Festival is at this point in time, but we're trying to do some other ones as well. I think it's quite likely I'll end up doing some more, but there's one that I'm definitely doing. Hi to Gwyneth. Hi to Mumbland. Hi from Dave in Swansea. Hi Dave, hope you're well. Mervyn did a short video today. I think it was Veriscope, as it relates to a post-it note that was not used in the trial. I haven't seen that yet. Thank you for reading my book, Sherry. Appreciate that very much. Hi, Rach. Hi, Chris. Did anyone else experience any problems joining tonight? I joined at 2 minutes to 8, but only managed to connect at 5 minutes past 8. Yeah, I had problems joining. It wouldn't let me in. So I don't know if that, because you're doing it on YouTube and I'm doing it on StreamYard. So I don't know if that's connected. It could be a coincidence. But you just never know with these things. But yeah, sorry about that. Uplifting, watching The Greatest Showman, we all need hope, joy, and sense of purpose. Being knocked down is only temporary. They said DNA controls us, but it's the electricity that gives us direction. Very interesting. Chris, I saw what you said about your book being very male. I appreciate the lack of emotion, the focus on the facts only, as I have enough emotion and rage about this to power a small country. Yeah, and also as I mentioned, it was consciously, I felt the book written by Jonathan and Judith, I feel Judith was the primary pushing voice in that book, and I felt it was too emotional. So it was supposed to be the counterpoint to that, really. And also, I only get one chance to do it, and I wanted to focus on the facts and try to, obviously you can't include everything, it's impossible, but try to focus on the evidence, try to focus why it's a wrongful conviction rather than, telling a story. Try to put a narrative in it that runs all the way through. But I didn't want it to be too, this is the most stupid feature, and I can't work out how to turn it off. I never get time to look at it. Why it has to put balloons on or thumbs up, or why would you want that? What possible reason would there be? Yeah, so I didn't want it to be pulling on your heartstrings. I wanted it to be appealing to your sense of reason as much as possible. Good evening. Just a quick question. Do you know if Lucy can access YouTube? I think it's possible. I mean, John Sweeney was saying they can get hold of anything nowadays. They don't have internet in their cells, rooms. It's not a hotel, in cells, as far as I know. But I think you can get internet access in prison now. It's possible that YouTube would be a site that would be firewalled off. I don't know. One project that I did think of at some point is to send Lucy recordings and or transcripts of the channel. I haven't got around to even thinking about arranging that yet. And also, I need to know whether we can send things and they'll get there. But if anyone feels that they can help with that, then maybe we can discuss that in the future. Because I thought, she should probably be aware of my existence now, because quite a few people have mentioned me to her, seemingly. So she might like to have some of the videos. Whether she has internet access or not, she's not going to be able to sit there watching everything, that's for sure. So she might appreciate that. I just want to answer something that was mentioned earlier. So there was a comment about the thumbnails. So when you generate a thumbnail, I have to use... to make them a good standard, I've tried to improve the standard recently, as you probably noticed. I obviously can't do that myself because I have no artistic ability. So you put them in the hands of technology and you try to direct the technology as much as you can. So I always try to make them as authentic as possible. But sometimes it just slightly alters. I don't know why it does this, but sometimes it slightly alters the appearance of people in the final image. And there's nothing I can do about that other than make my own thumbnails, which are not up to the same standard. So I've just decided, trying to make everything I do more professional, I'm trying to make my thumbnails better. The only way I can make them better is to use technology, because I can't use an art package and draw something or create something. I just don't have the skills. I was pathetic at art. Literally probably the worst drawer you've ever seen in your life. Anything like that, I'm hopeless at. So I don't know how to use these packages anyway. So I'd have to learn that. So the easiest and simplest way is to use these technology packages, and they sometimes change the appearance of people slightly. And no matter how many times you tell them, I don't want you to do that, they don't pay any attention. So there's not a lot I can do about it. Unless someone wants to design all the thumbnails for me, which I don't suppose anyone does, because it's a bit of a thankless task. And it's very difficult to coordinate something like that. So we're stuck with what I can do, unfortunately. Remember to like the stream. Hi to Val. Good to have you here. Hi to Robert. Remember, Melanistics just say, remember to like the stream, everyone. So thumbs up the stream if you get a chance. Thank you. Hi to Ruth. Hope you're well. Hi to Carl. I read the Sun article suggesting the CCRC outcome may be expected imminently. Any thoughts on that? I think that they probably have a bit of a steer on it. What is meant by imminently, I wouldn't necessarily get your hopes up it's going to be this time next week or this time next month. But as I say, I'm hopeful it's going to be this year. If it's this year, then, hopefully the Court of Appeal would expedite the case. And Nadine Dorries has given this indication that we could be in the Court of Appeal this time next year. By the way, when the Court of Appeal process happens, there's going to be day-to-day news reporting on the Court of Appeal, because this is one of the biggest cases and appeals ever. You can get, anyone will be able to follow it. I don't know how many people, but as far as I know, it's an indefinite. There's no limit on the number. So, I will definitely be following it very closely, and I'll just report on it every day. I did think maybe I should go to court one day. That's possible, but I think the most valuable and most important thing I can do is to just do a report every day. So I will be doing that when it happens, whenever that is. I think I still believe it's inevitable this is going to go to the Court of Appeal, but we'll have to wait and see what the CCRC says. But if they turn this away and say the conviction is safe and there's not grounds to refer, I mean, what the hell could you possibly provide? Good evening, Chris. Busy upload week. Will there be a way we can buy you a beer physically or virtually when Lucy is free? Good question. So this is going to be my schedule from now on. By the way, it's going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So long video on Tuesday, recorded a stonker for next Thursday that you will. I don't know what your reaction will be. Probably anger, but you'll enjoy it. Friday will be a long video. Sunday will be a long video. Tuesday's to be an interview as well. Tuesday interviews, Thursday short video, Friday long video, Sunday long video, and this live stream. That's the schedule I've worked out for myself. And the reason for that is trying to do a regular schedule and trying to keep it the same every week. Because if you post every 2 days, obviously there's an odd number of days and you can never have a regular schedule. So I thought the answer would be to have a short video on Thursday. So that's what I'm doing. So it's going to be pretty much always Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Maybe sometimes I'll have to change it depending on what happens. But that's the basic plan anyway. In terms of buying me a beer, obviously there's a possibility you would meet me in public at some point. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I'll think about that more when Lucy is free. Let's just work on that. I'm really grateful for the support I've had, and if you can do something more for me in the future, then that would be greatly appreciated. But obviously, I mean, I'm sure you remember when I was saying it'd be good to have a picnic. Obviously, I've gone way beyond that size now, because if even 1% of my subscribers turned up, it would be far too many, and if 10% turned up, it would be way too many. So I can't do anything like that, but I'll try to make some public appearances. And bear in mind, I'm a lightweight and I can't drink very much beer. So I can't, if 10 people want to buy me a beer, that's just not going to happen. I can have, I had a fund application. I don't know if people know what a fund application is, but you should Google it if you haven't. It's a major stomach operation, so I really can't, I'm supposed to be careful about what I eat and drink. I'm not careful enough about what I eat as it is. And I am careful about what I drink, but I can't drink very much, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, that's very kind. We can discuss it at some point in the future. Hi, Chris. There will be due to report progress soon. A task may as well be attempting to knit jelly. Well, yeah, it's impossible. One of the greatest writers in the world might be able to do it, but I don't think she can. Enjoyed your video this morning. Very informative. Thanks. Glad to hear that, Chris. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. If the Sun says it's imminent, take it seriously. They have loads of contacts. Yeah, I'm sure they're not urinating in the wind. I'm sure that they have a good idea. Got a tickly throat this evening. Really annoying. I wondered about Dr. A's sad death after being let go for sharing messages that in reality may be quite common in the NHS. Was he only forced out because of the Letby connection? I think it would be naive to think that there were other explanations and it wasn't a contributing factor. Obviously, I'm not privy to what happened and I can't really speculate, but given that he was so prominently involved and given that we know he was close to Lucy and exchanged an enormous amount of messages with her, it would be hard to believe that didn't have some influence over what occurred. But obviously, I don't know for sure. Thanks for your answer, Chris. Most people I've been speaking to at this point can only rationalise there's got to be something which was presented in the trial but hasn't been made public. Yeah, but there wasn't. So, because even, David, if you go and look at the CPS, if you go and look at the Crown Prosecution Service page for Lucy's original conviction, even in those very early days where we knew less than we do now, it was all stuff that we knew already. It was all stuff. They listed, I think they listed the handover sheets and the diary and, the confession note and then some medical information. And there was nothing. There's nothing out there that we don't know about, nothing. And I think that's reflected by the prosecution witnesses. So when Dr. Evans comments, it's not like I genuinely thought, boy, was I wrong. But 3 years ago, I thought at some point this guy Evans, who I knew nothing about, is going to come out and blind us with science. He's going to come out and he's going to say all these complex medical things that we don't understand, and he's really going to put a spanner in the works. And it just didn't happen because he's not said a single thing that that even has any credibility, let alone anything that we don't know. So there isn't, David. There's nothing else out there. Hi to Michael. Thanks for being here. Someone else is saying, please like the vid. So yeah, if you can press the thumbs up button, that'd be great. Where's Kiko? Keeks is downstairs in my front room under the coffee table. I've got a collection of about 20 to 25 dog bones, and every so often she just runs downstairs and she'll very specifically pick one out of the collection and then take it to one side. Hi, Chris. Hope you're good. I'm very well, Susan. Hope you are too. Here has been a day of dog walking. Now it's not so hot. Plenty of bridle paths and fields here, so not so hot pavements anyway. Dog walking is my new addiction. It is a very special thing. I think having a dog's been very good for me on many levels. Psychologically, it's a fantastic thing. You meet so many people through doing it. You go beautiful places. It's good for your health. It's good for your fitness. It's just a great thing. So yeah, I went on a long one today myself. Hi to Paul. Good to have you here as always. Do you think Labour are quite on Letby because the NHS is their baby and won't accept anything negative? Possibly. It can be a contributing factor. But I think that I just think the parties on the left-hand side of the House have been very disappointing. The left-hand side, the political divide, have just been very disappointing. Glad this Green Party motion is being raised. But whether that would do any good or not, I don't know. But I'm glad it's being raised. But I guess Greens could get some seats. We'll see what seats the Greens get the next election. But it's either I just think that they're towing the establishment line. I think that is basically the reason. I don't think it's any more than that. Maybe it's to do with the NHS, but I don't think so. Didn't Dawn, Lucy's friend, say she has a degree in microbiology? I forget what area she works in, but it's some science, so maybe it's microbiology. I'd like to see Chris interview David Davis one day. Well, the thing is, David Davis doesn't usually do podcasts. Maybe if Lucy was exonerated, he'd make an exception. But we'll see. Would you interview Dewi Evans if he had the stone? Absolutely. I've asked him. I'd 100% I'd have him on. And I wouldn't be discourteous, but that's not going to happen. I can assure you. I wonder if Dr. Clark will have the guts to go on your channel. Well, given that I sent him a message and he ignored it, and then I publicly asked him to not discourteously again, I publicly repeated the message that I'd sent that he ignored, and then he blocked me and was like insulting and stuff. I guess probably not. But at the end of the day, no doctor is going to come on and say, "Oh yeah, I think child D died due to air, not a delay in antibiotics and pneumonia and chronic respiratory distress and so on. I think child E died due to air, not losing 33% of the blood and having had a gastrointestinal hemorrhage. I think Lucy Letby did punch child O, and I think the sequence of events is really credible that the prosecution put in court." No one's going to do anything like that because, they would be destroying themselves. So it's not going to happen. Hi, Hayley. Glad to have you here. No problem being late. Not a problem. Hope your day at work's been good. I'm miles behind the chat this evening. I'm sorry about that. Not many MPs at David Davis' latest common speech. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, I'm aware that people talk about me. It's not a problem. I don't care. I just concentrate on doing my own work, and that's it. And I'm not bothered what anyone else says. I get so much praise and so much commendation, and a lot of it's coming from doctors, and I know lots of medical professionals. I talk to doctors and medical professionals every day, every day. Not most days, not 99% of days, every day. I'm in contact with medical professionals, and new ones are getting in contact with me every day, and they all praise me. So people can say whatever they want on the internet. It means nothing, nothing. And when I say that, I don't mean it means nothing, and I don't mean that in a dismissive or nasty way. They're perfectly entitled to sit there saying whatever they want, but I'm not going to pay any attention to it because, I know all these people who are like vascular surgeons, pediatricians, neonatologists, other specialisms, all the people you see on the channel, all the people you see in the book, and then dozens and dozens and dozens of people you haven't seen yet, and you might get to see some of them soon. But look at the interview with Dr. Caldwell. I can take very little credit for that. I did some good questions. I did my interviewing. I'm not a bad interviewer. If you put Dr. Caldwell, if you knew nothing about the case and you watched Dr. Caldwell being interviewed and then you watched Dr. Evans being interviewed, who do you think would be more credible? That's the kind of person I'm connected with. And one day you might get to find out a bit more about Dr. Evans, but you're not going to get that's not going to happen for a couple of months. But yeah, I just don't care. I'm just not interested. Once Lucy is exonerated, do you think some of the disgruntled parents might attack her through the civil courts? No, absolutely no chance. That's just untenable, completely untenable. Well, I mean, obviously, anyone can sue anyone for any reason, or anyone can. I don't know about civil courts. I don't know enough about it, but there's no way in this country that's going to be successful because, make no mistake, when Lucy's exonerated, whenever that is, hopefully it's sooner rather than later, this will be the biggest overturning of a verdict in British history, undoubtedly. I guess the pardoning, wasn't there a pardoning of Ruth Ellis or someone recently? A bit late for her, but that was a pretty big deal, or it would have been if she wasn't dead. But when this is overturned, undoubtedly, this will be the most significant miscarriage of justice and wrongful conviction ever. And that's with the greatest respect to the post office scandal. That affected more people and was bigger in scale, but the enormous impact of this on Lucy, the seriousness of the allegations, the brutal nature of a sentence, when this is overturned, there's no way the system is going to allow, we've allowed this woman out of prison, but, here you go. You've got to give these people compensation now. That just will not happen. That's not how the world works. I like to watch on TV and keep an eye on the comments on my mobile. Is this 2 YouTube views from one household? That's the kind of question I need to ask someone who understands this type of thing. It sounds like it could be, but on the other hand, YouTube might just count your IP address once. It's very difficult to say. In fact, I'm going to make a note of that question. Can I copy and paste? You can't copy and paste on this, can you? I'll try to ask that question because I haven't got a clue. Let me just email it to myself. Actually, what I can do is, hold on. If someone watches YouTube on both a mobile and the TV at the same time, does it count as 1 view or 2? So we'll soon find out. We'll get a somewhat of an informed answer to that question. Yeah, I can't read that out. Sorry, I agree with you. I can't read it out. Yeah, I mean, the Facebook response was incredible, utterly incredible. By the way, we're on 282 viewers, which is my peak. A previous peak was 271. So thank you for everyone for being here. Like, it's not, let me be clear. I mean, I try to do this to give something back, but it's not underestimated or taken for granted that I get so many people here. I mean, it's very much appreciated. I was kind of hoping we might get to 300. So if people haven't posted it on Facebook, please do, because we're hovering close to 300. We're on 290 then. I've never made it to 300, so that would be like a nice little goal. But yeah, I mean, to know, I was pretty much certain there'd be over 200 this evening, and that's amazing. The support I get and the the loyalty and kindness that you showed me is incredible. That's why I don't care about a few people saying horrible things. Like, they can say whatever they want. It means nothing. Let's go a little bit further down. Here's a question, Chris. I wasn't talking to a friend who now agrees she must be innocent. This much we both agree now. He still maintains that Lucy Oh, that's good. I'm glad you've got your friendship back together. I think there's a good chance, as your friend suggests, that Lucy will need to leave the country. Yes, many of us believe that. I believe it's a distinct possibility. I was in a house in Canada, in Nova Scotia, and it was a beautiful house. It wasn't enormous or anything. It was a bit bigger than my house, but it was built onto a lake, and there was a pier that went out onto the lake, and it was so beautiful. And I thought, Lucy deserves to be somewhere like this, maybe with a grander house with more money. And I thought she could come to a community like this. No one would know who she is, thousands of miles away, and rebuild her life and just be in beautiful surroundings. That might be necessary. We don't know. So on 297, what's happening in relation to the former nursing director of the County Chester Hospital? I don't know, Chris. It's very difficult to get information out of the hospital. They've drawn a veil around them that is similar to Fort Knox, I would suggest. So actually speaking directly to the hospital is bordering on impossible, if not completely impossible. So in terms of what's happening to her, I've got absolutely no idea. And I don't think anyone will know apart from her and some people at the hospital. So yeah, I don't think we're going to find out about the hospital for a while, but when Lucy's exonerated, the hospital is going to face scrutiny. That's for sure. Let's go a bit further down, because that's all answers is about the washing machine. Hi, Chris. Sorry I'm late. No problems, Karen. As usual, I was analysing Liverpool's performance, looking to get a draw. Yeah. I was following it a bit. I was thinking of you. Hopefully they'll pick up. It's pretty amazing that Rio's starting on the right wing, out of position as a 17-year-old. They do need a right winger rather desperately. Let's go a bit further down. Yes, that's all washing machine stuff. During your time analysing Lucy's trial, has anyone drawn your attention to the stark differences between modern jury trials and authentic common law trial by jury? No, they haven't, actually. That's a very interesting question. Again, I feel I should make a note of this, but it's quite complicated. So just bear with me. So in answer to that question about the views, yes, potentially you get two views if you're watching two playback sessions on different devices. However, YouTube validates views and may filter repeated or artificial looking activity, so it isn't guaranteed, as I suggested. But it should be. It should be counted. Let's go a bit further down. So, I mean, this would be an interesting thing to discuss at some point. So, as I've mentioned to you a few times, when Lucy's case is referred to the Court of Appeal, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do on this channel. It may be that I can still do, just need to be a little bit more careful. I mean, I just don't know what will be possible. I may need to seek legal advice, but this is the kind of thing I could examine. Let me just make a note of this. Bear with me, just so I've got this written down as a topic. Modern jury trials versus common law trial by jury. I don't know anything about this. Obviously, I know what common law is. Right, I made a note of that now. Let's go a bit further down. Did you see Ravi's hosting the Korean quiz night at his old school? Yeah, I did see that. It's hard to believe in a way, but I mean, at the moment, he's technically free. He's a free man, and I suppose he's entitled to do whatever he wants. I'm still waiting for the book from Amazon, which should have been here on the 14th. Yeah, that's. I can't see why. You should have had it by now, but I'm sorry if there's been a delay. It's obviously out of my control. Some prisoners sneak phones in, but loads were found after the emergency alert last week. Yeah. Apparently, there was a lot of controversy about that because people people in abusive relationships keep secret phones and such like. I didn't hear the noise because I'm not really sure. We made it to 300, so that's quite exciting. Thank you for all the support. It's the first time reaching 300, so really appreciate that. Chris has said, book gone to medical journals and doctors have written reviews, but no journal is reviewed. Yeah, that's true. Robert couldn't take credit for Hummingbird as he wasn't in post. Roberts, yeah, I didn't know that. I haven't followed his background that much, but I know he wasn't very much involved. But yeah, I just put that on the screen, so that's absolutely true. I mean, no one's published it yet. I know doctors have written reviews of the book and submitted them. So whether it will happen or not, I don't know. I love the way the book is written. Emotion gets in the way of facts. It's a brilliant book, very well thought out and accessible. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Watched the Jeremy Vine clip today from 6 months ago, post Netflix docs. Despite the documentary bias Shuley and Davis made, call after call as a program shift to serious doubt happened to me too. That's really interesting. I didn't see that. If you could send me that, Heidi, or I'd really like to see that. So it's this one here. So I'll put my email in the chat. Yeah, I'd really like to see that. So I don't watch TV. Don't have time. Don't have time to do anything really. Just do work and look after Keeks. But yeah, I'd love to see that. Surely her parents and Mark are keeping Lucy up to scratch with the support she's now garnering. I think. Well, I don't think. I know that they are. I think it would be impossible for Lucy to truly understand the scale of support, though, because you couldn't, could you? So, but I'm sure she's being kept up to date. But at the end of the day, she can't truly appreciate the scale of it, I don't think. Would Lucy have been given your book? Yeah, she's got my book. So please don't send her loads of copies because she's already got it. When the day comes, I wonder if we'll see Moritz sprinting from the doors of the Court of Appeal shouting she's innocent, Lucy Letby's innocent. I don't think she's going to be given that task. Let's just say that. Transcripts of the channel sounds like an amazing idea, Chris. I'm sure Lucy would value the opportunity to be connected in this way if she chose to follow what we're doing. It's something that I'll give some thought to shortly. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I've just never got round to it. I will. I'll give it some thought soon. So Carl's saying he can help with thumbnails and graphics. He's got a team of artists and animators. So I'll have a word with you about that at some point. Will you be attending the upcoming rally in London? Sadly not, because it's too far. I've done so much traveling this last few months. I'm tired, and I've got to travel to London shortly after that for something else. So I can't, unfortunately, attend the rally, but my thoughts will be with you. Hi to Claudia, good to have you here. Claudia's in Italy. Sounds like a good week ahead on the channel. Hopefully, it'll be interesting for people. Hi to Reflective, glad to have you here. Evening, Chris. How about a get together on Kinder Scout? Right, what the hell does that mean? All right. Yeah, I should have known that, shouldn't I? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I can't. The problem is, it's a nice suggestion, but I can't arrange anything online. I can't say online, let's be here at this date, because if there's more than like 30 people, then it's against the law. So it's a bit difficult when you have 9,000 followers. That's why we are starting to arrange events, and there'll be stuff happening in the future, rest assured. Yeah, you just have to wait and see. Are you going to write another book? Yes. I mean, I will definitely write another book about this case at some point, at least one more. And I will also be writing other books on other topics, no doubt. That's what I do. I can't do anything else. So all I can, I mean, I've got my YouTube now, so I'll keep making YouTube videos, and I can write. That's it. I'd say I'm pretty much unemployable at this point because I've not had a job for 15 years. No, it's more than 15 years. I don't know how long it is. But it's, I don't, I mean, if I put my CV, if I sent my CV to any employer, they would just say, what have you been doing the last 15 years? If I left it blank. And if I told them what I'd been doing, they'd be say, well, very obviously you want to be a writer. You don't want to work here. And also you're not really the best age to bring in. So, I mean, I think I'd have to do the dirtiest, smelliest jobs. And I don't think I'm qualified to do anything else. So I'll be writing many books the rest of my life, rest assured. Was looking forward to going to Pitockery or Pitlockery, that could be, for a few nights on Thursday. Can't go until I see your video. Oh, well, don't let me put you off your trip, but it's not a really, really long one. It's going to be one of the shorter ones. The short ones are going to come out on Thursday. So it's 20 minutes roughly. So hopefully you can see it and still go on your trip. Sorry, the info regarding the Court of Appeal is not a whole transcript of the proceedings, but it's just a final judgment. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it gives you all the information. So just go a bit further down. Labour are not on the left anymore. I haven't been for some time. Well, I suppose you could. I mean, I agree. You can't really disagree with that. But I suppose you could argue Andy Burnham is more of the left than Starmer was. But yeah, I take your point. Rewatch Botch film, Rihanna Milan's testimony. It's really troubling when revealed that webpage linked to Anna's lab. Read her advice. Yeah, it is. I don't know what the hell happened in court. Regarding absence of CCTV, which in my mind should have been first plan of action as soon as docs had suspicions, I googled it and was told privacy, etc. very weak. Yeah, it's a strange one, Claudia. It was a really great point you made last week. So I've been told there'd be privacy issues with CCTV, but that doesn't discount the point that you raised, which is that particularly from May 2017, particularly from May 2017, at that point, there's an official police investigation. They always tell us, oh, we kept a completely open mind. Well, if you kept a completely open mind, the so-called murderer could still be in the hospital. So you should be advising the hospital, or even saying, look, you need to check that there's not other people. They obviously didn't do that. They very clearly didn't do that. So the idea that they had an open mind is just non-existent. They may not have been able to do CCTV, fair enough, but there's other things that they could have done, for sure. If Lucy Letby is exonerated, we'll see all sides of the political spectrum jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, everyone will jump on the bandwagon. That's normal. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about any other people that, I'm not interested. It's not a problem for me. Most politicians will not put their head above the parapet until Lucy is exonerated. They are careerists, absolutely. I'd love to see a video with you in conversation with Mark Mays. So I've been on Mark's stream a couple of times. I think maybe 3 times. Maybe it's more, but I think at least 3. And Mark's taking a break now. But if Mark I think it's okay for me to say I have asked Mark to come on this stream, and he didn't want to do it, which is fine. I hope Mark doesn't mind me saying that. But I said, if you're streaming anytime and I see you and I've got the energy or time, then I'll come on. But obviously he's not doing that at the moment. But your best way to see a video with me and Mark would be to hope that I pop up on his stream. But at the moment he's just having some downtime, so we'll see how he's doing. I don't want to pester him or anything because he needs a bit of privacy, I think. We're all getting called cultists. Gotta let that. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a stupid expression. A cult is a small number of people who go against the consensus and society's norms in some extreme way. That couldn't be less accurate. It's just a stupid expression. It's like people use the word grifter all the time now. Grifter this, grifter that. They don't even know what the word grifter means. It's misused all the time, like constantly. And this is obviously an example of something that is just nonsense. Hi, Chris and all, just joined. I'll watch the first part and catch up. So because I've now been able to schedule the videos, it will be available as soon as this is over, I think. Dewi has argued, yeah. I mean, I don't talk about Dewi's other stuff. I just stick to the Lucy Letby case, but he's definitely done other things that are dubious. Why must all our public institutions be a laughing stock? I can't answer that question because we've only got 59 minutes left. This would be a fascinating. I mean, one day I'm not going to be discussing just the Lucy Letby case on this channel. I'm going to move on to other things as well. This would be a fascinating topic to address. And you could obviously make multiple videos. So now I've kind of found my feet as a podcast maker. I don't want to limit myself in the future to just doing criminal justice once Lucy's been exonerated. Until Lucy's exonerated, just Lucy Letby. When in the immediate aftermath of Lucy being exonerated, there'll probably be quite a lot of Lucy Letby content still, and maybe some criminal justice stuff. But I'd like to migrate as well into doing, I would never do, I don't know, maybe I would do a documentary on a more trivial topic at some point. I don't know, but I think my brand, to use a horrible term, is doing serious content. So most of it will be serious, but it'd be interesting to, do something a bit more. I think everything I do will always be, I don't think it would ever be lowbrow because it's not who I am. But to do something on films maybe, or would be interesting sometime in the future. Or books, obviously, is my first love. I know some people have said they'd like me to do a video about my favorite books. I'm not going to do that until Lucy's been exonerated, but maybe I could do that, or maybe I could talk about a particular writer, or who knows. But why must all our public institutions be a laughingstock is definitely documentary worthy, I think. Yeah, thanks for being here, Else. Really appreciate it. Hope you're well. This sort of thing destroys people, like my godmother, Sally Clark. I hope for a better outcome for dear Lucy. So I didn't know that was the case. I don't think I've ever heard you mention that before anyone mentioned that. I mean, that's awful. It's awful that you've seen this play out in your own life. What happened to her was, there aren't words to describe how unjust it was. It's just horrendous, and to know that you had a personal relationship with Sally is, really sad to hear. I hope that you're okay about it and everything, because I don't know how you ever could be, really, because if you knew Sally well, then clearly she was a very good woman before this unjust thing happened to her. And what happened to her after her prison sentence was indefensible, obviously. They literally destroyed her as much as anyone ever could be destroyed. And yeah, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine being in prison forever for such a terrible crime. it's a testament to her strength that she's still standing. I mean, she is clearly a strong person, but you've got to be strong to be a neonatal nurse. I mean, that's non-negotiable, basically. Now, Lacey may be particularly strong. I don't know, because I don't know her, but I only know what I've been told, and I reported what I've been told in my book. But you have to have strength. That's just, otherwise you won't make it. So yeah, she's actually well placed in that regard. But I agree that it is a testament to her strength, undoubtedly. Dr. Colwell is absolutely brilliant, and he's helping me with some things as well as he'll be. I've recorded an interview for Tuesday already, and then Dr. Colwell will be coming up again next week. So I've got to actually decide whether I stick to one interview per week or if I put out as many as I can while I can, because I don't know when it's going to be referred, and I don't know whether I'll be able to put those interviews out or not. So maybe I should just. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to know what to do. I think I need to seek legal advice as soon as possible. Anyway, hi to Anita. Don't worry about being late. We really appreciate you being here. I'd suggest sending summaries of key broadcasts to a solicitor for her parents. Pretty sure only limited transcripts of YouTube broadcasts are allowed. Educational stuff. Okay, well, I'll look into that, Julie. I don't know anything about this. The thing is, is there a limitation on what you're allowed to send in terms of written language? Because how would you know? How would you know that they were YouTube transcripts? I know they read everything, but how would you know? But I'll give that some thought. It might not be possible. It was just an idea I had. Hopefully, it's possible, but it might not be. Dr. Svelina Dimitrova puts her career on the line for the truth of what she knows. Yeah, she's a great person. I have a lot of respect for her. Do you know who's been in to see her recently? I wonder how she's currently. I don't have any more information about Lucy's circumstances than yourself. I mean, I don't think it would be appropriate for me to put myself forward, and I don't have any intention of doing that. So I only know what you know, really. I don't know who's been to see her, and I don't know. I don't know any more than you. So I was trying to think of something more interesting to say, but I couldn't. I'm afraid I don't know any more than you. So I want to mention this here. So Val is that your house, by the way? I love those type of roofs. Hi, Chris. Hope the map is going okay. So Val has produced a map of Lucy's followers and supporters all over the world that I will feature on the channel at some point when I remember Val. I've said I'd feature it, and then I'll probably, it's hard to remember to do things, but all dispersed all over the world. Basically, just South America and Africa, where there wasn't anyone, but anything that's you might describe as westernized, there are followers and supporters. Very, very good effort that she did to do that. So I'll try to get that on the channel at some point soon. I was also going to do a map. Because when you're on, when you look at YouTube analytics, you can see where people have followed you. So it may surprise you to learn that 25% of my views are from overseas. So although obviously, as you'd expect, Britain is the dominant market, the dominant audience location, it's approximately 74% of my audience. So over a quarter is from the rest of the world. So I do have followers like all over the world in different countries who watch the videos. As you might expect, a lot of it's the English-speaking world, and a lot of it is Europe as well. But yeah, so there's a lot of people following this now. No, I mean I don't talk about stuff like that. I'm not interested. I just focus on what I'm doing. People can say whatever they want about me. I don't care. Has anyone heard any public comments made by any of the jurors on the Letby trial? No, because none of them have spoken out. I get asked about this occasionally. The They can speak. They can speak. Nothing is stopping them from speaking. They have to be careful about what they say, but they could speak out. But you would need some courage. There must surely be jurors you would think who are having serious questions about what's happened here. That would be natural. But we've not had excuse me, we've not had any public comments. Just to say, I think Jeannie mentioned Mark May's channel being monitored by 3 organisations after FOIs, maybe why channel dormant. I don't know anything about that else, so I can't really comment. That could be true. I don't know. Do you think incompetence by Lucy's legal team should have been part of a submission to Court of Appeal? I've no idea. I really don't know, because it could. I don't know enough about how they would view it. They might view it unfavorably, as like, this guy's criticizing our barrister Ben Myers, who's one of us, who is rated very highly, etc., etc. So they could view it unfavorably. I think the point is, the court will say she had an adequate defence. They won't say a defence was inadequate. They'll say Ben Myers made these points, he made them thoroughly, he did thorough cross-examination, he's an experienced barrister. There's no way that she's going to come out on an inadequate defence. So I don't know what Mark's thinking is. He knows more than me. But what I will say is that if you made the submission, there's no chance it would be successful. Have you wondered how far a weaponized judicial system will go? Have you considered the possibility that someone who is so obviously set up by the system will never be exonerated by the same system? So let's take those questions one by one. Have I wondered how far a weaponized judicial system will go? So it's a very interesting question. You could argue it's a bit of a loaded question, because you're assuming that there's a weaponized judicial system, which I can't confirm. I think that I don't even know if I can answer that question. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question, to be honest. It's a very interesting question. I think that it's become clear to me from this case that anyone in the country could be convicted of it wrongfully of almost any crime, in almost any circumstances, on almost any evidence, and they wouldn't be guaranteed a fair trial. That's pretty bad, is it not? But I mean, I absolutely stand by that. In terms of someone, I can't. I mean, I know lots of people believe this about Lucy. I've never made that assertion myself, and I don't make that assertion because I can't. What you can say is someone that's been convicted by the system then has to be exonerated by the same system. This has proved to be a problem. This is a perennial problem, indeed. So yeah, it's an issue. It's a massive issue. Of course it is. And I've not considered the possibility it is an inherent problem in the judicial system. It's an inherent problem for Lucy. All I can say is fingers crossed, and all we can do is do the best that we can. What are your thoughts on documentary psychoanalysis of the decor of Lucy's bedroom? It's not something that I would do, but I wouldn't criticize others if they want to do that. I did comment on when I was talking to Guy. I said he was talking about Lucy's character, and I said I think it's fair to say that she's feminine. Feminine interests, feminine bedroom, feminine surroundings, feminine character. I think obviously I don't know her well. I don't know that much about her. I mean, I don't know her personally at all, but I mean, I don't even know that much about her. I've included most of what I know in my book, and then there's a few other things. But everything to me points to her being quite feminine, a girly girl, as Guy put it. And I think it's reasonable to infer that from her bedroom decor. So I would say that. But if people want to psychoanalyze it, that's up to them. I mean, I don't, but I think we can say she had feminine interests and a feminine kind of demeanor and background, I would say. I'm just going to have to. So we're at 9:15. I'm just going to have to go through questions only now. Do you think the case will be used as an excuse to abolish jury trials? So this is something that some people have suggested, and I understand why they're saying that. Let me say two things. Firstly, the criminal justice system never once changed. The criminal justice system is very happy with the existing system, and the people at the apex of the criminal justice system, while to some extent we do live in this society in which there's interlinked relationships between people in high positions, and I think that's undeniable. The Court of Appeal and the criminal justice system at the apex is basically unaccountable. And I don't see any reason why they would want to abolish jury trials because they're perfectly happy with the system that they have now. Let me say three things. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm ambivalent towards jury trials because when you spend time around the average person, it becomes hard to argue in favour of them. And then when you see this case, what chance has the jury got? What difference does it make? I see the dangers of abolishing jury trials, and I'm not in favour of that. But I'm not an enormous fan of jury trials either. I think the third thing is that I do understand why people are concerned about this, and I do understand it's a kind of technocratic decision that may be favoured by people in elite positions. However, another thing about people in elite positions is that they like to keep things simple and they don't like to have enormous change just for the sake of it. So I don't think jury trials will be abolished in my lifetime, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's something that people need to be aware of. If you feel passionately about it, then you should. It's hard for me to feel passionately about it because I don't think juries help people that are innocent at all. So I'm not in favour of them being abolished, but I'm not really bothered about juries that much. Yeah, I heard this thing that Corey Knight had been cancelled, but I've not been following it that much. So with regards to Dr. Brewery, I do think he was a driving force in the hospital. I think that's fairly clear. And yeah, the consultants in the hospital will be scrutinised when this is over, no doubt. I don't know how this was ever allowed to happen. I don't know how they were ever allowed to run amok. And I don't know if run amok is an accurate way of describing it, but they were given so much levity in what they did, and I just can't understand that. Let's go a bit further down. Hi, Chris. As a young mother in Idaho has been convicted, hi Joe, hope you're well, of smothering her twin babies, and yet it was documented that they both became ill following routine childhood vaccinations. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, Joe. Sorry. I can't comment on that. I mean, you may notice that I've never comment. I mean, unless I have pre-existing knowledge or something, I don't comment because I've not followed anything else other than Lucy's case really for a long time. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. Good to have you here. Let's go a bit further down. You have had a job, a full-time job. You have written a brilliant book and worked non-stop. Thank you, Scarlett. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I do work hard. I've got a good work ethic, and if I'm passionate about something, I just don't stop, and I won't stop until this is over. I've not had a conventional job where you apply to an employer and they employ you in another workplace or whatever for a very long time. But yeah, I've been a freelance writer for a long time before I started doing YouTube, and now I do YouTube as well. And I love doing it. I love doing YouTube, and I'll probably do it as long as I'm healthy. Do it for the rest of my life. And I'll definitely be writing for the rest of my life, so I'll be busy. But I love doing creative things. I mean, I've never been able to. I'm not musical. I love listening to music. I can't play a musical instrument. I remember being at school and I was very average at playing the recorder, and I thought, you're better at other things, focus on that. I can't paint or draw, as I was saying earlier. So, my creative outlet is to write and to research things and do things for YouTube, and I love doing that. So, if I could do other creative things, I would. Like Rachel was saying earlier, she sings. Like, you do not want to hear my singing voice. Maybe she could coach me, but I mean, that'd be a tough job. My singing voice is terrible. But yeah, I just love to do creative things. And when I had a normal job, I found that very, 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 very difficult because I just found it so boring. All I wanted to do was go home. So I had to work from home. I had to find a way, and I managed to do it with writing. And I wish I'd tried sooner in a way, but it probably happened at the right time. Did the jury have copies of Lucy's police interview on their iPads, tablets? I can only find evidence the jury in the Baby K retrial being shown one. I don't know for sure, but what difference does it make? Why weren't they shown the original footage? I don't know whether they did or not, but why weren't they just shown the original footage in court? What possible reason is there for reenacting it? It's just purely for manipulation, isn't it? It's not for any other reason. Why else would they do it? What if you've got a primary source, you show the primary source, don't you? Always. So it doesn't make a blind bit of difference what they've got on the iPad. The reason there's a reenactment in court is because they're manipulating the jury. That's the aim of doing it. Why else are they doing it? No other reason. Are you saying that Nick Johnson can give a more accurate representation of Daniel Stoney than Daniel Stoney, and Daniel Stoney can give a more accurate representation of Lucy than Lucy herself? Obviously not. That's preposterously stupid. So, I don't know. I don't take these. I mean, the argument against that is so obvious, it barely even seems worth making as a point. Let's go a bit further down. Chris, do you feel as I do the CCRC will have to show its hand before Thirlwell is compelled to issue a report? Yes, absolutely. You will never see the Thirlwell report because there's no way they can write it with the terms of reference that were put in place. You're not going to see that report. Do you think Thirlwell and the CCRC speak to each other? I think it's a distinct possibility, but I don't know for sure. But I think Lady Thirlwell will have looked to the CCRC for a steer, for sure. Let's go a bit further down. Yeah, I hope Mark's okay. I didn't know anything about what you're saying. Let's go a bit further down. Chris, I agree to ignore people, but don't be too quick to dismiss responding to the strongest arguments, critiques. As I mentioned last week, I would love to do a video. I don't know if I mentioned this, where people who believe in guilt ask me questions and I answer the questions, and I'm very happy to do that. But I've never managed to have a reasonable conversation with anyone. Like I'm pretty polite. I think anyone would agree. I'm quite approachable. Quite a few of you have met me. I'm not intimidating. I go to public places, and you can come and speak to me in a public place. And I've never sent a discourteous email in my life, and I'm very calm because I don't let my emotions control me. I mean, that's why I was probably quite well placed to write a book that's based on reason, not emotion. But yeah, I'd love to have people put the strongest arguments in front of me, but no one's ever able to do this because they can't be objective. They can't argue in good faith, and they can't be courteous. But I'm very happy to answer questions, and I don't know. I mean, this doesn't necessarily relate to my book, but my book isn't perfect. Like, obviously, there are going to be errors, obviously, and I'm aware of a few, and they'll be corrected. I'm not infallible. I'm just a human being. I'm not even an expert because I've not got medical qualifications. But if anyone's put a body of work together that's as good as mine and as thorough as mine, then I'm happy to look at it. But I don't think they have. And if anyone else thinks that they know the case better than me, I'll be impressed. I put my life and soul into making sure that when I did become more public, I didn't know I'd become as public as I have, but when I did become more public, I knew the case inside out. However, I'm always happy to field questions, but I've never been asked a serious question, and I've never managed to have a conversation with anyone who's anything other than rabid. You know, you see them in the comment section, they just start insulting people, or making disingenuous comments or lying, or a combination of the three. I'm more than happy to answer questions. One thing I would have done in debate. I'm not doing one now because I built the channel and I built my book and I've got the responses and I've got doctors following me. I'm just handing someone a platform who's done nothing except witter on the internet to like 20 followers or something. I couldn't care less, but I'm more than happy to address things, but I'm not going to go seeking them. I've said my email address is lucy_letby_analysis@mail.com. Everyone knows that. If you've got something to say, if you want to ask me questions, or if you want to say Lucy's guilty, then email me. You're not coming on the channel unless you're a medical professional, because you had 16 months and no one could do anything. So if you think anyone's piggybacking off me now, they're not. But I'll answer questions if they're put to me courteously, and if I wish to, but they just never are. They never are, because everyone has to be banned for like insulting people. Even like you guys will respond, and almost immediately the person will be abusive, or there's stupid questions or whatever. But yeah, if people want to ask me a strong question, I'll answer it. But I'm not going to go seeking them, because I'm in contact with doctors, I'm in contact with experts, I'm in contact with professionals, I'm in contact with people who scrutinise the book, and if they spot anything that's a legitimate argument, they tell me. Trust me, that there will be an updated version of the book, and it's likely there'll be a fully updated version at some point in the future that I'll discuss with you when that's going to happen. More than likely, it will be when the case is referred. We will probably produce an updated version of the book reflecting that, and there'll probably be a new chapter that I will write, and things will be updated and so on and so forth. Anyway, the point is, if people want to send me questions, they can. But I'm literally talking to medical professionals every day. So if I get something wrong, they tell me. So if you're not a medical professional, then I'm not really going to listen to you. It's pointless. And I will answer questions. I've said numerous times I will, but no one's ever approached me or spoken to me in a courteous fashion or in a constructive way. That's why I don't do debates, because people don't argue in good faith, because they can't, because their egos get in the way. My ego doesn't get in the way because I'm not ego invested in a position, firstly. And secondly, I don't have to prove myself to be right, because it's not that important to me. The important thing is doing what I consider to be the right thing. Doing the right thing is standing up for what I consider to be truth and justice. It's not about whether I'm right or not. I don't care whether I'm right. What I care about is that this what I consider to be wrongful conviction is addressed properly, and that the justice system is safe for people who live in this country, and that you can have a court case and you're guaranteed a fair trial. That none of that is true at this point in time. This case has never been fairly heard. That's the first thing. The justice system is very obviously not fit for purpose, and you're not guaranteed a fair trial. And until, and I realize I'm a very small voice in this, but I will use my voice for as long as I can, until, in the very unlikely scenario occurs when I don't think it's the case anymore, and you can trust the justice system, and this has been resolved, that hopefully will happen, and you are guaranteed a fair trial. Until then, I'll talk about this topic. So that's always the priority for me. Lucy's actually, although I do feel great empathy for a situation, and although I think it's awful, and the first goal, of course, is for her to be exonerated, which she should be, I don't think that's the most important thing. I think the most important thing is this system will make this happen all over again. In fact, that nurse in Birmingham would already have been convicted. I mean, at the very least, they would have charged her, probably, if it wasn't for the fact that they're looking at the Lucy Letby case. So, in a way, we've performed a public service to her, because she will now either get a fair trial or not go to trial. I can't say that she would have got a fair trial before. She probably wouldn't have got a fair trial. So that's what I'm focused on, not my ego about whether or not I'm right. That's really for juvenile people. Juvenile people care about that. I don't. I mean, I know I'm right, obviously, because I'm in contact with hundreds of medical people who will say that I'm right, whereas there isn't a single medical person that has contacted me to say otherwise. And, there hasn't been a single medical person who's come out to support the prosecution case. So I obviously know that I'm right, but that's not the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not to win an argument or say, oh, aren't I so clever? I'm cleverer than everyone else. Couldn't give a toss about that. I just care about, I live in a country in which you're not guaranteed a fair trial, and which this could happen to you, as I made very clear in the book. That's what I care about. And, if people can put serious questions to me, I'll answer them. But beyond that, not interested. So nearly 350. So this is amazing, to be honest. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm miles behind the chat because I waffled on about that for ages, but I'll try and catch up a bit. So if people weren't here earlier, Scarlett, her godmother was Sally Clark, who I'm sure you know. And to be honest, that wasn't kindness, Scarlett. That was a bit of shock for me to hear that that you had that relationship with her. And of course, I feel very natural empathy for what you've been through and what Sally has been through. It's awful. I'm really touched that you mentioned that. I'm really glad you did. Terrible thing, terrible. Let's go a bit further down. One more thing, Chris. If I write to Lucy, am I allowed to say that I know she's innocent, talk about this channel, etc.? Will it be blocked? I don't think so. I think I'd maybe get advice from someone more informed than me, Claudia, but because I've not written to Lucy, and because I don't know much about it, I don't know. But I think you'd be allowed to say that. I don't know if you know, but Joanna Dennehy, who was guilty of murder, there was an accomplice who drove her around in the car, and he's in prison as well. And he wrote to Joanna Dennehy, and in that letter, he contradicted his entire defence that he put in court, which, is unfortunate because the prison reads every single letter, and they released it to the press as well. So it will be read, but I think you're perfectly entitled to say, I know you're innocent, or I believe you're innocent, or whatever, as far as I know. Wow, that's a beautiful house, Val, you've got. Look at Val's house. That's so beautiful. I love it. When I write to Lucy, I'm completely honest with her. I keep nothing from her. The thing is, we don't know if she got your letter. That's the problem. So I don't know what the regulations are for sure. Let's go a bit further down. One juror did not reach a bill. Yeah, so there was one juror who was skeptical of much of the case, although Child F, Child L, and Child O were unanimous verdicts. Child O is just annihilated as a case now. And Child F and Child L, we know how ridiculous the Insulin cases are. But I can understand why that happened. But there was one juror that was in there who was obviously skeptical. So yeah, that's quite interesting, is it not? I write to her once a month, tell her what we're finding out, send books, CDs, etc. So thank you for doing that. I mean, that's such a noble thing to do. Never give up, Chris. No one wins with theories and lies. So let me see if I can put my favourite quote on the screen here. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. Right, I'm rubbish at doing this. How do I share my screen? I can never remember how to do this. Is it this one? Here we go. Here we go. Right. Right, here we go. Can you see that? You should be able to see that now. So this was something Shane Warne said, a cricketer who sadly died very young. That was one, I think, Naroditsky's death, I mentioned it to you one day, a chess player who died at 29, who was a beautiful person. That was the only death I've ever known where I was really personally affected by it, even though I wasn't a big fan of his or watched him that much, but I knew enough about him to know that he was a great person. just tragic that he died. And this was the other one where when I read it, I was like, I can't believe it. But he just said, yeah, never give up, just absolutely never give up. And I try to keep that in my heart and in my soul, and have that as my kind of guiding principle in whatever I do. Hi Anna, hope you're well. Yeah, it's a lot cooler this week. We can't moan about the weather this week. I mean, this today was beautiful in Derbyshire, and I went for a long walk. So we're really glad to have you here. Anna's in Australia, if you don't know. Is John Sweeney's play happening? Will you broadcast the premiere? Wow, yeah, that's a great idea. I don't know, but John's very great, very gracious and very generous. So who knows what will happen in the future? I think this channel is going to grow a lot because we so much is going to happen, and I'm going to be able to do so many different things in the future. So yeah, something like that could happen. Who knows? Who knows? Very hard to say at this point. Yeah, of course, he's got to write it first. There is that little thing that needs to be done. I know it's not evidence as such, but I can't think of any girly girls who became serial killers. Of course, it's very unusual. Just a female serial killer is unusual, of course. But a female serial killer who shows obvious kindness and feminine qualities, very unlikely. Let's go a bit further down. Yeah, apparently, yeah, this Curry Night thing's been cancelled, yeah. So I've heard. So apparently, so William's talking about there being leaks. I think it's fairly clear. I mean, I don't have any inside information on this, but I think it's fairly clear there have been leaks, because how else would you get some of this information that's been made public? So yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, I did wonder for a long time, is everyone on the police on the same page? There must be people asking questions, and it seems that there is, which is good. It's good on them. Hopefully they don't end up in a snow. What was his name? I've forgotten the first name of Snowden, the guy who leaked stuff in America. Edward Snowden, of course. Yeah, the whistleblower. Yeah, hopefully nothing like that happens, because he had a bit of a hairy time, one way or another. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of guts to do this. No. The JRM Curry Night was not a poor taste joke. No, it wasn't. Yeah, hopefully people can sponsor the Green Party. If you can, please do. It would be really valuable. Green Party's prominence is growing. They're doing quite well in the polls. They could get a significant number of seats. It would be valuable to have this. Have you spoken to Amanda Knox about Lucy Letby? No, I haven't. I would speak to her. Amanda obviously is difficult to speak with, because how busy her life is, how high profile she is, how many different people she has to deal with. Like I know already, I've been saying to people recently, I now have a life where I need a PA while not having any money for a PA. And that's just at my level. I'm lucky that I've got a publicist. I'm lucky that I've got my publisher. I'm lucky that I've got other people that can help me with stuff. And I'm lucky I get a lot of support. But even so, I get so many messages, notifications. The thing is, I have to keep up with them all, because I can't miss something important. So I do the best I can to answer everything. But now I've got 3 email addresses that I get emails through. I get messages through my website now as well, because that's become a lot more prominent. I get messages through Twitter. I get messages through YouTube. I get messages through WhatsApp. Get messages through Facebook. That's why I'm not on Reddit anymore, by the way. I don't post on Reddit. And not all these things are easy to deal with, where you just deal with them and they're done. Sometimes, they need following up, or we need research or whatever. And that's just at my level. So at Amanda's level, it gets crazy. So I've not had contact with her, but maybe I will one day. We'll see. So this is a really good question, Dawn, that I know nothing about, but I'll put it on the screen. I'd be very interested to know if your opinion on jury trials changes any if you read Tony Greenstein's closing speech in the trial against him, unanimously found not guilty. So this is yet another thing that I need to look up. I don't know anything about this, Dawn. Sorry. I'm just making a note for myself. Apologies for the delay. Right. I made a note now. Thank you for raising that. Can't somebody charge the charge with false imprisonment and put a price on every day spent illegally in prison? Probably not. It's a good suggestion, but like the system is always stacked against you. Like anything like this, the system is stacked against you. So people have said, Lucy suing people when she comes out. I don't think she'd want to do that, but maybe it could happen. I don't know. Hi to Diana. Good to have you here, as always. Let's go a bit further down. Who is now going to trust judges if they know about this case? Goss and Thirlwall, respected senior members of the judiciary. Yeah, that is a good point. I don't know what the future direction the legal system will be. It's like I said, I don't think we'll see the end of jury trials in my lifetime. I really, to say anything else, to say anything else would be speculative. So I don't know. But I will say this: I don't think Lucy would be any better off without a jury. Let me just say that, because that's something that I can say. But I don't think she was any better off with a jury either. That's why I'm ambivalent. I don't think juries help you. I don't think juries generally help you. It depends on the case, but then I don't think judges would help you. I think what you want is two things. You want good evidence in court, and ideally you don't want to go to court at all. Like I mean, again, it's not really for me to comment on this, but there's a very high-profile court case coming up involving someone who's very famous. I'm sure you can imagine who this is, accused of certain sexual offences. Now, how that person's going to get a fair trial, I have no idea. And I have no thoughts on whether that person is guilty or innocent. I have no idea. But I question how they can get a fair trial. What about someone simply putting them guilty arguments to you in a reasonable, neutral, open-minded person, Sam Harris style? Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd like to do, but it's how do I collate them and collect them? If someone wants to do that, then I'm happy to do it. But it was so difficult to do because it just results in people being abusive. But if someone wants to put some together, also it's difficult to judge the stronger ones, I suppose. But yeah, I'm more than happy to address things. It's not a problem. And bear in mind as well that I can't answer everything. So if there's some very complex medical point, I can't answer that. I'm not someone who. There are people out there who pretend that they can do that. I don't. I do what I can, and it was within my capability. And if I can't do it, and if I don't know it, as you know, I get experts in. So if there's a question that I can get an expert opinion from, then I will. But like, I can't answer every single question about the case. Like, if you're asking me some incredibly complex question, for example, the Chase and Shannon paper. There's been a critique. I mean, there's no way that people can critique that paper. There's a handful of people in the world that can understand that paper. It's incredibly complicated, and they've put some very high level calculations in it. And yeah, it can be critiqued to some extent, but I don't sit here and pretend that I can read the Chase and Shannon paper and say, oh, this is what they meant by this, and this is what, and they are. There's virtually no one in the world. It's not virtually no one. There is literally no one in the world that's done what they have done. Literally no one. Like Jeff Chase is one of the world's most published academics, literally one of the world's most, and he specifically works in this field, and he's got a list of papers like that, and they've been doing modeling that no one else in the world has been doing. And then on top of that, there's very high level mathematics in what there's just, I'm going to critique the paper. Yeah, good luck, because like your opinion, it's a complete waste of time, because your opinion is utterly worthless. That doesn't mean that you couldn't spot a mistake in it, but I'm not going to talk about something that I can't critique. If I can, the ironic thing is, if I see something from Dewi Evans, I can critique it, and that says everything. It's not even difficult. But I'm happy to answer questions, but I'm not gonna, I can't answer some incredibly complex question about some medical thing that the person asking the question doesn't understand either. Or if that was the case, then I'd have to ask for an expert. But yeah, broadly speaking, I'm happy to answer questions. I have done this in the past. I used to do question and answer sessions, and some of them would be from people that believe Lucy to be guilty, and I'd always answer them. I've got no problem with doing it. It's just I don't have time to put the questions together, and I don't have any way to approach them, and I don't really want to interact with them because they're just abusive and rude. And they even when one of them posts in the YouTube comments, like I said, it always turns into an argument because they can't be courteous. They're just incapable of it. But if someone could put the questions to me in a courteous form, in a courteous format, I'm happy to answer anything, as I've done in the past. Yeah, I think if you haven't watched this, you should definitely watch it, because it will be an insight into what the Court of Appeal is like. What is legal for Judge Goss to admit? Was it legal for Judge Goss to admit vital evidence? I'm sure it was. I'm sure he will know exactly what is legal. And yeah, I'm sure he will know exactly what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. Chris, how confident are you in Lucy being exonerated from all 15 convictions? Will it be a house of cards when one conviction is overturned, or will the CPS try and make any of the convictions stick? So I think the conviction potentially becomes unsafe if some of the convictions are overturned. I don't really know the entire way the Court of Appeal works, but I've certainly heard this before. In terms of whether Lucy will be exonerated, I've said this before, Lucy Letby will not be in prison for the rest of her life. There's absolutely no chance. What needs to happen is for her to come out of prison as soon as possible, so that her life is only ruined, not completely destroyed. It's a very delicate matter, because sadly, the Court of Appeal has rejected many appeals of many innocent people. We've seen that with Malcolm, and we've seen it with others. They make no mistake; they could reject this appeal. I'm not under any illusions about that. But I'm 100% certain that Lucy will not be in prison the rest of her life, because of the sheer weight of everything that goes against her. Now, I hope that she can be exonerated within a year or so, which will give her a shot at rebuilding her life. So my confidence is 100%, but it's more the time scale. But yeah, it is basically like a house of cards as far as I understand it. Yeah. So I just want to share this message from Joe. Post-exoneration, I'll be ready for your book club, as I've just bought and read We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick. So I recommended this as being the greatest short story that's ever been written, in my opinion. The Rocking Horse Winner by D.H. Lawrence is very good as well. That's one of my favourites. But yeah, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale is just on a different level. It's one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever written, certainly. So I hope you enjoy it, Joe. On the Lucy Letby Pro-Guilt Reddit, yes, I've already answered this. I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to answer some questions, but I'm not going to go on and saying. I'll answer serious questions. Like I've seen. I didn't even read the article about Rachel Aviv, but like 90% of it is nonsense. So I'm not going to answer like endless nonsense arguments, because I've got better things to do with my time. If people can put forward some strong arguments, then I'll look at them. And of course I can make mistakes, and of course there can be flaws in reasoning. I think my reasoning is better than most people, and well, I'm extremely confident about that. At the end of the day, I've written 50 books previously. I've written this book. I've got over 100 doctors in my email, and they've got 0. So I'm not going to sit there answering every stupid thing that they say on the Reddit. I'm just not. They're perfectly entitled to say whatever they want. That's why I won't approach them, because they don't argue in good faith. So so they say stupid things. So that's why I've never tried to do it, because you can't discuss things with them. They're incapable of civil discussion. They're incapable of good faith debate. So that's why I don't engage typically. Well, I don't engage at all. If people can put to me some strong arguments in favour of guilt, which there aren't any, then I'm happy to address them. But I'm not going to sit there going, "Oh, on page 117, I think this is the case." Fine, think whatever you want. Give a shit. So yeah, if you could like the post, as Joe is suggesting here. So you just do that by going to you go to the thumb, just click the up thumb. Also, I've only got so much time, and I'm here to help Lucy, and to help, as I say, the criminal justice system in this country, which I absolutely believe that you're not guaranteed a fair trial, as I've just expressed earlier in the video. I'm not interested in having some pointless back and forth discussion with people who have no bearing on anything. I'm not saying there are absolutely no errors, but as someone has rightly said here, it was fact checked. There's multiple experts that have contributed to this book, not just in terms of the interviews, but also people were involved that I've not named, that you don't even know. So I'm not going to sit here and listen to someone who hasn't got the slightest clue what they're talking about. It's just not a worthwhile usage of my time. But yeah, I hope I've answered your question fairly, Tom, because I know you've made another comment here. But it's so difficult to have a reasonable discussion about anything. It's not just the Lucy Letby case. People argue about everything now. Like the internet is absolutely poisonous medium, social media, for any kind of reason debate. There is no reason debate anymore. People just ego invest in a certain position, then try to prove that they're right. Even when like there's an avalanche of reasons that they're wrong, but they still sit there going, "Oh yeah, but what about this? What about this?" Who cares? Who cares what you say? It means nothing. Nothing. So yeah, I would be unlikely to do that. And it is worthwhile to point out, as someone has pointed out here, they just literally ban everyone. So that's how much good faith they engage in. They just kick people off their channel. Like you get banned. If you even try and post in there and say anything other than the court case was wonderful, Lucy Letby is definitely guilty, we shouldn't question a single aspect of the court case. If you say anything else, you get banned. So why would I engage with people like that? I don't. They can say whatever they want. But yeah, and I'm willing to answer questions from pro-guilty people if they are legitimate. But the thing is, getting legitimate questions from people who will ask them in good faith is very difficult. I would say impossible. But you can try. If someone get them and can put them to me, I'm happy to do that. It will be completely pointless, because at the end of the day, I've got well over 100 experts and I'm in contact with who have medical qualifications, whereas they have 0. So obviously it's not going to be a worthwhile usage of my time, realistically. Right, so let's go a bit further down. Hi, Chris. Good. I missed the first part. Just want to say you're a lovely guy with the best heart. Thank you. Glad you can see a bit of it. And of course, the recording will be online in approximately. Well, I'm miles behind still, so I need to catch up with the questions because I'm miles behind. Yeah, Shane Warne did live there. That's correct. So he played for Hereford. Thanks for all the work you're doing. No problem. So I've got to try and catch up a little bit. What is the feeling in England overall about Lucy? Is there a movement, petition, grassroots effort to get a conviction overturned? So there's been a broad effort to bring this into public eye. That's happening more and more. I think basically almost everyone that's looked at the case now believes that it's either unsafe or that she's not guilty. There was a poll actually on Twitter recently. I've not highlighted this at all, but only 4% of respondents, and it was hundreds. It wasn't 25 or something. It was several hundred. Only 4% said that she was guilty out of say 500. So that would be what, 20 people out of 500. So 480. It was about nearly 400 said she was not guilty, and whatever was left over, 80, 90 said they weren't sure. So that's pretty much reasonable doubt. Would you not agree? But more's going to come. There's going to be more coming soon. Let's go a bit further down. So I'm trying to catch up because I'm still 20 minutes behind. It's nearly 10. Love that you say when she comes out. Well, it will. She will be exonerated. Like, there's no doubt. It's just a matter of when. I don't want, as I said at UCL, when I spoke at UCL, I just don't want it to be 10 years from now. I mean, I'll do everything I can for as long as I can, but I don't want to work on this for another 10 years. I don't want to be sat here 9 years from now in what will it be, 2035, going, yeah, hopefully Lucy's going to come out next year. Because by then they will have destroyed her. So it needs to be dealt with quickly, and hopefully it will be. So I think in answer to this question about the Court of Appeal, I think once the CCRC refers, I think this case will be expedited because it's too much of a hot potato to just leave hanging around. So I think it will be dealt with pretty quickly. Hi, Chris. Have you thought... excuse me, I got tickle. Hi, Chris. Have you thought about how you will celebrate when Lucy is freed? I think my overriding emotion, Margaret, will be relief that it's over. I'm sure there'll be some tears because it'll be emotional. Not for. I think honestly, as much for the fact that it'll just be over. I don't think there'll be tears of joy. I think there'll be tears of relief. I don't know how I'll feel, but I think I'll have to treat myself to something, or I'll have to do something. But I mean, I've not thought about it in great depth. Maybe I should have done. So this is good to see. Since your book was released, many Facebook groups in favour of Lucy Letby have grown exponentially. That's not nice to hear. Yeah. What do you do to relax? Do you have any hobbies? Well, I play chess. I play a couple of other games. I used to play on the PlayStation a bit. Sometimes I play FIFA, one of the old FIFA games, a lot. I should maybe buy one of the new ones at some point. I'll probably play GTA 6 when it comes out. But I haven't got a PS5, so I think I'm going to wait until the PS6 comes out and get a PS6 and then get a copy then. And obviously my dog is the main thing, walking in the countryside. I like to go on long walks and go up in the hills. So those are kind of my hobbies. I'm cooking. I like cooking, but I've not had an enormous amount of time to do that. But I learned to cook a few years ago, and I surprised myself by being competent. So I learned to do quite a few recipes, and I like to bake cakes and make puddings. So yeah, those are my hobbies. Yeah, sport, I guess. Watch a bit of football. Watch a bit of cricket. Watch a bit of tennis. Watch a bit of snooker. But don't get much time. Let's go a bit further down. I'm a supporter from Queensland, Australia, registered nurse for 40 years. Can't believe this case went to court. Police and lawyers don't have the qualifications to understand the medical science. That's the problem, Liz. Thanks for all your service in nursing. That's great. So William's saying here, I agree about the Chase and Shannon paper. Unless you're in exactly that field, you won't understand it. Human knowledge is like that now. It's so specialized. I'm a medical researcher myself, by the way. So I don't make any pretense that I can read that paper and deduce whether or not it's correct. And anyone that does must be pretty deluded, because it's immensely complex and there's just no possibility they could do that whatsoever. And anyone that critiques it, their critique is going to be like a sieve in terms of being full of holes, inevitably. So I support Grimsby as well. So someone's mentioned my hobbies here. Yeah, these are my hobbies really. I love a bit of a foodie, so I like cooking. So I like eating in restaurants as well. Yeah, I do like good food. Oh, thanks for emailing Jeremy Vine link. I really appreciate that. By the way, excellent interview on Fox podcast. Lucy couldn't have anyone better advocating for her. Thank you. Actually, Chanley said that to me, who hosted it, which is very kind of her. So hopefully I'll do another one again soon. Yeah, that's really nice to know about someone in the Ukraine. That requires enormous courage, doesn't it? Enormous. I don't think there are any medical professionals of high standing would disagree with you now. I'm a trained nurse and I know lots about the case, but not half as much as you. You are amazing. Thank you, Anne. That's very kind of you. I just realised that, this is going to stick to me for the rest of my life, obviously. And I thought, firstly, if I'm going to talk about this and if I'm going to have a public profile, I need to be right, is the first thing. And then secondly, I need to make sure I know this inside out, because it will stick to me forever. So, it's just been a very thorough process of making sure I leave no stone unturned and make sure I know everything. So yeah, I really appreciate the comment. Thank you very much. Is Lucy safe in prison? All the indication we have is that she is, and that's coming from people that visit her in prison. So that sounds like a good thing. She will be being very carefully protected because imagine the controversy if she was attacked and heaven forbid killed. So she will be very, very carefully, very, very carefully protected. So I'm going to show you a few things here. So I'm banned from Lucy Letby. Me too after one post. So William is like a very high level scientist, by the way, just so you know. I'm banned from Reddit. Is anybody not banned from Reddit? I'm banned on Reddit. Banned after 3 posts. So that's why I don't engage with them. So they can say whatever they want. It's like, they obviously need help. So on my second listen for your book on Lucy, you did an amazing job narrating your excellent book, Chris. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Archie. It was very hard. So I did the best that I could. And, people have been quite kind about it. Someone, there's been a couple of reviews of the audiobook. They've not been as complimentary as the written book, but overall the feedback's been exceptional and people are entitled to say whatever they want. At the end of the day, I'm not a professional, narrator by a long chalk, so I just tried my hardest. If Marion's still assisting with research now the book is done, does she help with your vids? Marion's always there for me if I need her. She's not directly doing research for me now, but Marion's always researching this case. So, we'll talk every so often and I'll send her emails and whatnot, and we'll get together to have a Zoom chat. And she doesn't directly help with her vids, but her research is always there. It's always underpinned everything that I do, even though she's very modest about it and doesn't. So she did very little, and I know I've done a lot, and I don't deny that. But what she did helped me a lot, and she's an amazing researcher, and I can't praise her enough. So just to let you know, actually, I'll mention this at the moment. On Tuesday, I've recorded a video with Dr. Jonathan Moore, and in that video we celebrate some of the unsung heroes that have been involved with Lucy's case. Obviously, it didn't even scratch the surface of people who have been involved, but we're trying to as well communicate and convey how important it is for people to keep involved and keep going, and the difference that people have made by in various different ways. So let's go a bit further down. Can you interview Medium Mystic? Would be fascinating. What do you reckon, Medium Mystic? They're in the chat, so would you like to do it? If you'd like to do it, I'm more than happy to facilitate that. Or you could come on a live stream if you want sometime, if you'd like to. So let me know if you're still here, or if people want to ask her, then ask her directly. It is a she. I'm not getting mixed up, right? Because there's so many people who tell me so many things. I hope I've got the gender correct. I think I did. Did someone say cake? Yeah, I like to do. My favourite cake to do is Victoria sponge cake because it's so easy. I like to follow. If you ever want to bake a cake, you should follow the Waitrose Victoria sponge cake recipe. It's really easy and tastes amazing and is amazing. I like to do Claire Saffit's chocolate cake from the New York Times. They're my favourite cakes to bake. So I really recommend them. But I like doing puddings as well. Like I like doing a sticky toffee pudding, or I like doing bread and butter pudding. I can do like chocolate cookies or chocolate brownies, stuff like that. I don't quite understand this comment about are you working in Texas tomorrow? So maybe you can explain that because I don't understand. How can you be so confident she'll be released, considering the small percentage of cases referred by the CCRC and the fact she's lost 2 appeals? Will the UK criminal justice lose face? Well, firstly, I can't answer that question. I'll try to answer it quickly because I've got to end the stream now. But there's so much pressure. There's so much media scrutiny. It's so obvious that she's not guilty. There are a small percentage of cases referred, but it would be extraordinary if this case wasn't referred, considering what I've just mentioned. And then once it gets to the Court of Appeal, the majority of cases are overturned. So there are arguments against her being exonerated. But as I say, I don't know that she'll win this appeal. And we have to accept the fact that she can lose. That's a fact. But when it's so obvious that someone is not guilty, sooner or later they come out, No Lacoste shirt tonight. We expect it of you. We thought you were being sponsored. You deserve to be. They're just my favourites. So I think the reason I wear them, I sometimes wear Ralph Lauren, and I think the reason I wear those two is because Lacoste, you see it on the French Open all the time, and Ralph Lauren used to be on the US Open. I don't know if they still do. I haven't really noticed, but it's just my favourite, and they last forever. Like they like you wouldn't believe how long they last. They're in absolutely like if you buy one of those polo shirts, they fade, but there's not a strand. I've got them from like nearly 20 years ago, and they're still absolutely fine. So they are a good buy. I really recommend them. I prefer the Lacoste ones to Ralph Lauren, but the Ralph Lauren ones I sometimes wear. Did you mention you were vegan previously? I used to run an Instagram with lots of vegan recipes. That's amazing. I'm not vegan. I don't eat meat, and I don't have dairy products. I have eggs sometimes. I have fish sometimes, and I have cheese sometimes. So I'm not very. I'm kind of like 80% vegan, but not a very good vegan, given that I do eat animal products. But I really respect people who are vegan. If you've got I'll check out your thing. Yeah, I'll check it out. I love recipes and I love cooking, so yeah, I'll definitely check out your thing. That sounds like a brilliant thing to do. Kiko is not a vegan. That is true. But Kiko does like vegan food. Kiko loves a vegan sausage. She just loves eating, basically. But she's definitely not vegan. And I wouldn't have her be vegan or vegetarian because that's not biologically right, I think. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if Stephen Fry could have read it, but I mean, it costs an enormous amount of money and it's just not feasible. And I don't know if he would have done it, but he might do my next one. Who knows? What about the pathologist, radiologist, and insulin expert instructed by original defence agreeing with the prosecution counterparts? I haven't got time to address that now. Ask me that question again in the future. Yeah, so Medium Mystic says she will come on. So I'll let me just make a note to remember to ask you. I'll work out what would be the best thing to do. It might be best for you to come on and do a live stream if you want to do that. That'd be really cool. But I'll get in contact when I have the opportunity. I am familiar with your content, but obviously I don't get an enormous amount of time at the moment. Kiko has the keto diet. No, she doesn't. But yeah, maybe she does actually. She doesn't properly because I give a little bits of pieces that are outside the keto diet, but actually a diet is pretty much keto, to be fair. That's probably true actually. Oh, Christopher Morris, yeah, you're right, yeah. It's strange that this thing's happened about the associate professor. I don't know what the hell all that is all about. But yeah, I'm not commuting to Texas for sure. Try baking budini. They're Italian cakes. I have most days for breakfast with a cappuccino. Okay, I'll put that on the list. Thanks for being here, Scarlett. I really appreciate it. I've made it to the bottom. So I'm going to stop there, even though there's one more question, but I don't know the answer to that question, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, thank you to everyone for joining me today. Are you going to come, Keeks? Are you going to come and join me? Or are you? Ever since I got Kiko a bed, she won't come. She won't come up anymore. She just loves you. Love that bed, don't you? Come on, baby. Come here. Here. Come to me. No, that was the most pathetic move. Yeah. I know the guy at a brass eye. I mean, of all the famous people to have the same name as me, I'll take that all day long. Considering the names I could have. But yeah, that's why I call myself Christopher Morris, actually, because he's always Chris Morris. So there's still loads of people called Christopher Morris, but yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for being here. We'll do this again next week. This was a record stream by Miles. Really appreciate all the kind remarks as always. I'll see you all again on Sunday, and check out our videos next week. So there's one with Jonathan on Tuesday, and on Thursday you're going to see something that's going to blow your mind. So yeah, thanks for being here. See you all again soon.